Sean Swagger, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Donnie. Thanks for having me.
Also known as the Baker.
Yes.
How'd you get that nickname?
Oh, man. I don't even remember what year it was, but we were doing a little bit of mastermind sessions with some agents, and I think at one point I had like 13 contracts going.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
At one time. And so our friend Bobby coined the name the Baker's Dozen.
Yeah.
So it was chaotic times for sure.
Yeah, that was cool. That was, what year was that?
I'd say actually,
Like 2018?
yeah, 17 or 18.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, different market then.
Yeah, which I think, the real estate market in our area is kind of going back towards that,
Yeah.
2017, 2018 time, days on market. Obviously, the interest rates and average sales price is a completely different, figure. But
Yeah. I remember, I think it was, so I started at real estate in 2016. I think 2017 I think it was the second half of 2017. I feel like we've never really been in a buyer's market in our area since I've been in real estate in 2016. Fair?
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think, so I bought my house in 2013, and even then there were multiple offers. That's when there was a lot of bank-owned properties.
Yeah.
Still flooded the market. And it continued, in 2016, maybe 17 is kind of when the tail end of the mass amount of bank-owned properties were sold off. But yeah, multiple offers, like, for buyers, for, like you said, since we got started. So
Yeah. I remember I think it was 2017 or the beginning of 2018. Like one of the first times I was selling a property that had like a lot of offers, and it was like 11 or 12 offers. At that time it was like, holy shit, like, that many offers, Yeah, and then COVID, and it's like the norm was like 20 offers or something like that.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Stupid.
Yeah.
So how did you get your start in real estate?
I'd say kind of like everyone, unless you were born into the industry, like in your family, but just kind of naively went into the industry just because my buddy said it was a good idea. You could make a lot of money, and I really, wasn't enjoying my current position as a mechanical engineer, and so I was just looking for a change. And like I said, just kind of naively was like, yeah, let me get my license, just kind of step by step, not knowing anything about sales, anything about real estate. And, I guess the rest is history, but it was definitely wasn't on my plan, in high school or college or anything like that. So
did you, like, getting into real estate, did you do any research and be like, okay, I think this is a good career for me? Or you're just like,
no,
let's just do it?
Yeah, no, not a lot of research, other than like the school that I went to, the Bob Hogue School of Real Estate, was highly recommended. But, I just asked the agent that recommended I getting into the business, and, the agent that sold our house to us, he has been in the industry for like 20 plus years at the time, just kind of asked them for advice and guidance, and then just, step by step, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. And how did you choose Berkshire Hathaway? Because you choosing Berkshire Hathaway was like a big part of like when I got into real estate, like leaning towards Berkshire Hathaway.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember receiving letters and phone calls, once you apply for your license as a new agent. And at first you'd think, oh, wow, this is cool. People want to hire me, like I'm something important. Right? Yeah. And then you
I must have done really well on this test or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cause they don't tell you about that. At least they didn't tell me in schooling. But anyway, I received letters and calls and all that. But I asked my agent, again, who's been in the business forever, who should I join or at least talk to being a new agent. And he said Coldwell Banker and Berkshire Hathaway have the best training programs for new agents. And so first call was Coldwell Banker. I mean, I remember where I was standing at my engineering position. I stepped out of the office to call them and explain my situation, saying I'm still working full-time as an engineer, just getting into the business, blah, blah, blah. And I remember the broker was like, oh, part-time, yeah, we don't have time for you.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's, kind of insulting, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then I must have called Berkshire Hathaway the next day or whatever. And, I met with Matt Vi, and I just instantly felt comfortable. His approach was providing value, and he was teaching me. He was giving me a business 101 session the first time I ever met him.
Yeah.
And I just liked the name. It just felt right. So I put the logic and the emotions together, and 9 years later, I'm here.
Yeah, still here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a similar situation where it was like between two different companies. Obviously, you already being at Berkshire Hathaway, like I think that's what Berkshire Hathaway never called me. I got calls from everyone else, right? But yeah, like meeting with Matt Vi, same like scenario, feeling and vibes and stuff. Although Matt Vi like did stand me up. I think like the very first meeting
for the record.
Yeah. We're just put that one on record.
Yeah.
No show.
Yeah.
I'm like sitting in the office and and the admin's like texting him, and he's not responding.
Yeah.
He's like, he's normally not like this. I'm so sorry.
Probably in a coaching session with me.
Yeah.
Priorities.
Yeah, I was a nobody. I was it was funny.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So what about like new agents getting into the business? Like now that you're a broker too, right?
Yep.
So you've made that transition into the broker world.
And for the record, I told Matt Vi I would never be a broker. I would never do what he did. And here I am.
Here you are. Yeah. Like what do you like what are your tips for them? Like what do you recommend for anyone that's like thinking about real estate?
Oh man, how much time do you got? There's so much to unpack, but I go back to ninja selling. That's kind of the framework of my coaching and my training, and the office culture really. It's all about relationships. So, and a lot of people talk about that and say, oh, it's all about relationships, but the approach that ninja selling teaches and, the things that we do just make a difference. So it's not about calling everybody and asking them if they want to buy and sell real estate. It's truly seeing how you can add value and help them or help somebody that they know and just be in flow with their lives, right? And it's this kind of utopian idea, but every once in a while someone will be like, oh, it's funny you called. We need to buy or sell, or so-and-so needs to buy or sell. So it's just a matter of providing value and staying in flow with people's lives, and then real estate will eventually happen. You just have to have the patience and in the beginning the savings, right, to get to that first closing, because that's another thing that takes place and builds momentum is when you have your first transaction or your first closing, then you'll get your next, right? And then your social network sees that, and to me it's social proof that, hey, Donnie can do it. Mm-hmm, so I'm going to call him when, I need, the services. So, but yeah, I mean, just tapping into your sphere of influence, your database, the people is the biggest thing. I mean, I remember as a new agent, that's what I was tasked to do, is just go down your phone list and call everybody and tell me you're in real estate.
Yeah.
And I did that. And I, again, vividly remember leaving the most awkward voicemails, because again, no sales background, mostly introverted. And, I just remember making a fool of myself. But then also, if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have pushed the envelope. I wouldn't have, become more comfortable on the phone and talking to people. So, I mean, I share this story all the time. I vividly remember where I was driving on 275 going home from my engineering job at, 6:30 or whatever, calling a former engineer and just letting him know I got in the business. This is 2015. And it wasn't until late 2018 that he referred me to one of his best friends who they were having trouble selling their house. And I was able to take that over, sell it for him. And then like 3 or 4 more referrals took place after that. But I truly believe that it all started with the phone call in 2015. So again, you know, your question about what I recommend new agents is to just connect with your people and, you know, do so in a value-driven way so that when the time comes, whether it's 3 or 4 years later, you're the number one choice. Because yes, I interviewed for the position of selling their home, but it was more about just learning about what they needed. You know, because they were a complete stranger at the time, but it all worked out.
But like, so as a new agent though, like it can be tough to, it is tough to like adapt that mindset and be patient, right? Because like you said, either you've quit your job and you're jumping into this full time, or you're trying to balance of like, I need to get my first sale and the experience of like going through that process. How do you like manage that piece of it of, you know, like, hey, here's the, you know, you need to build relationships. It's going to take a long time to do that, right? Because like in your scenario, 2015 to 2018, like 3 years of staying in touch with, staying in flow with that contact. Yeah. So how do you like, as a new agent, like how do you balance that?
Yeah. Well, fortunately I had multiple transactions between that one example referrals, but no, I think it's, you know, I encourage agents to work part-time, you know, that first year. I really do, just so that financial burden's not, you know, on the back of their minds, and they don't have what, you know, we call commission breath, where they're just desperate for anything. But not everyone's in that, you know, position. I know when you started, you went in, you know, all in, right? Full time. So, I mean, there's no right or wrong, but it's kind of just like an initiation phase that I think everyone's got to go through, and some move quicker than others. But you really, you know, I summarize this business in 3 categories: mindset, skill set, and action. And the mindset piece, like if you don't have that, then you're toast. And I think the first couple of years is really the most challenging time that you internalize so much. I mean, if you're being intentional and really want to make this a career and, you know, a profession, as you should, because some people are hobbyists. And so I think that's really the difference, is when people are going all in and truly focused. You know, my personal experience was it was pain and pleasure, right? It was pain of the engineering position, just, you know, in the office, you know the story, but it's, I wanted to get out of that more than anything else. So I was motivated to get into real estate and learn everything I could and do everything I could and work as much as I could. Whereas some other people are just kind of, oh, I've heard about it. Let me
give this a shot.
Yeah. Casually.
Yeah.
So I think that makes a big difference, because, you know, the intensity that you put into something is going to change the pace. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's, what about like, you know, like, so when I first got started, it was, you know, in order to generate business, call for sale by owners, expired listings, like those sort of tactics. It's like quicker business, right? Because it's those people are like in the market, like they're trying to actively, you know, transact in real estate. Do you recommend that agents, or do you think agents like have to go through that phase of like trying all these different ways to generate business while also like putting in the steps to building relationships with the people that they already know? Like, is that a big part of like starting out? Like, hey, just try a bunch of stuff and see what works? Or are your agents like coming in with like, here's how I want to grow my business?
Yeah, I used to think that was a good approach. Just try to, you know, do a little bit of everything to see what sticks and what you what you like. And, you know, I've come to realize that it's really agent specific to their personality and what they enjoy outside of real estate, outside of sales. Because some people will cold call for sale by owners and expireds and do great at it, and others won't. You know, I mean, I remember we did for a short period and had some successes with it, but it sucked.
Yeah. We hated it.
Yeah. And I think it's just because our personality types don't gravitate towards that, you know, imposing nature of, you know, calling a stranger. So, at the same time though, other personalities, they thrive in it. Right. So I think everyone should have a mix of that, you know, as Matt called it, you know, the now business.
Yeah.
Right. Mixed with the future business, which is your sphere. But, you know, I think at the end of the day, that type of business building or lead generation for sale by owners or expireds is not a sustainable career path.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of agents out there that's all they do and have done for many, many years, and it's sustainable for them, but they're the small exception, I think, to the rule, because, you know, I and you, like, we both personally have worked with other agents that's where their focus was, and then a year or two later they're out of the business. It just, you know, burns them out, because you think about it, you're calling a stranger, you're trying so hard to build trust, you're trying so hard to meet them and convince them that you're the right agent to sell their house.
There's like 15 other agents doing the same thing, calling that one person.
At least.
Yeah.
And then anyway, you get the job, and then sometimes they're not, the seller's not reasonable with their price.
Yeah.
So they're usually a little bit high. So it takes, you know, 90 days, let's say, to get a price reduction and then finally go into contract. I mean, the whole process, you know, could be 3 to 6 months converting, you know, a seller and closing. But after that, you are transactional. I don't think you really built that relationship with that seller based on how you approached it. You know, if that's your business model is for sale by owners, because you're always looking for the next one.
And they still probably have that mindset of like, you know, oh, I want to give it a shot myself.
Oh, for sure.
You know, unless something, you know, I'm sure it's like the exception where like a for sale by owner like really kind of changes their approach on selling real estate in the future. But yeah, and then you're constantly like, you have to stay on those phone calls, and like the moment you stop, like your business stops, right? So that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, the difference is you're pursuing, right? Yeah. You're chasing, versus you know, referral business comes to you.
Yeah,
right?
Attracting.
So,
yeah,
exactly.
What about like so this is something I've thought about, never probably spoken about it, but like the personality types. Like when I got into real estate, like I'm introverted. I remember like thinking, I feel like I can do well in real estate, but also like watching TV shows or whatever of people showing homes. And at that time, like my confidence level was low, and just being like, I don't know if I can do that, or I can't picture myself doing that right now. But for whatever reason, I had this belief of like, I can do better than, you know, some agents or some, you know, examples that I had seen. My question is like personality types. Do you see like any personality type can be successful in real estate, or there's some that are like more successful than others, or have it easier or something? I don't know.
Right. So I'm definitely no personality assessment, you know, like expert, but somewhat familiar with, you know, the DISC profile, I believe it's called, where you've got like the party personality type.
Yeah.
And then you've got the analytical type.
Yeah.
So those two, from what I've seen and what I've heard, those two typically excel in sales and real estate far more than, you know, the type A personality and the like subtle, I think is the other one, the quiet, reserved type. Yeah. And reason being, I think, is the party personality. They'll talk to anybody. Right. So they are just naturally, you know, socializing. Right. And that's typically the sales
relationships, right?
Type.
Just building connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're not really good with the details, but they'll go out there and talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And then in the opposite category, analytical type, which I'd say we're fall in that category.
Yeah.
We're like more calculated and, it's designed, right? Anything we do is calculated and designed before we take action. So we kind of, get ready, set, and then it takes a little bit to, take action. But when we do, it's figured out. So we know it's going to work.
Yeah. I think that's the balance of like, over preparing and that's something I've learned is just being comfortable with taking action, even though it's not like perfect the way, I want it or whatever, which is tough to do, but it's something that can be learned, right? For anybody that's wanting to get started in real estate.
For sure.
Yeah. Interesting. What do you do outside of real estate?
I play with my children. I've got 2 beautiful girls and then my wife. That's my focus, honestly. That's really why I made the decision to take the broker position, because as you know, as a real estate agent, I mean, it's 24/8, you're working all the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, within reason, and you can get better at it. But, showing homes on the weekends, open houses, it's tough to, raise a family on the weekends with that. So that was really the deciding factor. And I was, again, pretty naive. I had no idea what I was signing up for.
Yeah.
But, after being a broker now for 3 years, it's, I made the right decision. I've grown professionally. I've grown personally. I've got a great office that's doing really well. There's a lot of great agents. So I've met so many people. So, but yeah, outside of real estate is family. And then also I've got a dirt bike again. It's been about 10 years since I had one. Used to race when I was younger. We got a boat.
That's right.
Yeah, we got a boat a couple years ago. And it's a true fishing boat. And as you know, I've fished on it a couple times. Dodged a couple lightning bolts.
I was gonna say, I was with you one of those times, and there wasn't much fishing on that trip. I don't even know if we tossed our lines in the water.
Yeah. But it's truly been one of the best decisions for the family, because the girls love the beach. We go to Anclo Island, Caladesi, honeymoon, and they just love the beach. And it's special because you can only get there by boat.
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain, the boater lifestyle if you haven't done it, because up until a couple of years ago, I've never had a boat, just, John boats here and there, but it's really cool. It's really neat. And, it's enjoyable. The girls love it. So, it's March now, so it's getting to be boat season here soon.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exciting. It is cool. Like the one that we have access to the water like that, right? And so many different places to visit on the boat, like you mentioned. But yeah, just it's a totally different experience, like getting out on the water, right? I don't know if it's just because like if you grew up in this area or you just love, like have a joy and passion for the ocean, but yeah, it's like getting out on the boat, just kind of like you forget about everything else.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those things.
Yeah. And I mean, again, I'm not a doctor, but I've heard there's many health benefits to it, and you feel it when you get out there. You get the salt spray,
Yeah.
You breathe it. It's on your skin. You get the vitamin D from the sun, and just clear skies, like you said. You kind of disconnect and just take it all in, and it's really tough in any sales position, but especially real estate in our market. It's fast paced, so when you get out there, you just kind of put your mind at ease for an hour, or two.
And so you grew up in this area, right?
Yes, sir.
Palm Harbor.
So I bounced all around. Born in Dunedin, but we lived in Spring Hill at the time.
Oh wow.
And then in second grade, we moved to Oldsmar.
Okay.
And lived in Oldsmar until 8th grade. We moved to Palm Harbor.
Okay.
And then let's see. After that, I think I went to school. We moved to Clearwater.
Oh, okay.
Dunedin area. And then I went to college, lived in Tampa, and then bought my first house in Tarpon.
Yeah.
And then about 5-6 years ago, bought a house in Oldsmar.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of all over, but definitely, greater Pinellas area.
Why do you like Oldsmar?
I think it all starts with my childhood memories, second through
Was
fifth
Oldsmar.
grade. Yeah, going to Oldsmar Elementary.
Yeah.
So it's just something I'm comfortable with. Like, I know every single street, I know where the potholes are.
Yeah.
So when you know something so well, you just tend to enjoy it or like it more.
Yeah.
But I was reminded when we moved back there, just the neighbors, like, they introduce themselves, like, everyone's friendly, everyone's looking out for each other's back.
Yeah.
So it's just that sense of community, a little small town vibe.
Yeah.
And it helps that it's golf cart friendly too.
Yeah.
So another memory I had, I was out in the garage working or something, and I just hear the humming of a golf cart go by, kind of like a Jetsons, like, and then they stop at the stop sign, and all I hear is a beer can cracking open, and I'm just like, oh man, this is home.
Yeah. That's cool. I think that's what's really cool about our area is, like, there's pockets of that, right? Because Oldsmar is bigger, but I feel like it's like the downtown Oldsmar where you live, where you have like that that like hometown like feel, wherever your neighbors are friendly and all that stuff, right? You don't get that everywhere, but there's little pockets. I think Safety Harbor is another spot like that where you have that community vibe. Dunedin, and then parts of Palm Harbor too. But it is interesting because it's like a pocket of Oldsmar,
right?
That has that.
And it's funny. So my father-in-law, when we bought that house, never knew that part of Oldsmar existed. And most people, I hear the same thing.
Wow.
Because you're on Tampa Road, you're just driving by.
True.
And
there's no reason to go down there unless you live there.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I hear that a lot. And what's starting to happen a lot in the downtown area is redevelopment. So they'll either buy a property with one house on it and split it into two lots, or just a small bungalows, just distressed, they'll tear it down and build new construction. And I call it like a mini South Tampa, where that's been happening for years. And it's right now, just off the top of my head, there's 4 to 5 new homes being built right now in the downtown part of Oldsmar.
Crazy.
So, and one just closed, like a 2,500 square foot home just closed for $900,000.
Yeah.
Last month.
That's not on the water.
Not on the water.
Yeah.
It's a 50-foot wide lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I think again that just kind of illustrates the value of that small town feel, kind of off the beaten path, and great school district too. I think that's important for buyers and people looking for a new home. So,
yeah, it's yeah, I feel like there's so much that goes into that. I've talking to a lot of people that are either moving to the area and stuff. It's like they want little areas, little pockets like that where you have that small town feel, but also you're close to everything else, right? You're close to the beaches, you're close to Tampa if you want to go to Tampa. So it's cool to see that, like, little spots like that are like gaining popularity and growing because of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's good for people who live there. Excuse me, but it's becoming challenging to be affordable. And a lot of the small town, people have been there for their whole lives and generations. They're not a big fan of newbies coming in, right?
Right.
But I think that's just the natural progression of any community and change. So it's not like you can stop it. But, I think just another aspect of where we live in Oldsmar, with everything to do there, like you said, you're close to everything with the beaches and the airport. But in Oldsmar, there's, I think, 60%, I'm probably botching the number, but it's like 60% of the land is parks and preserves
Really?
of the city. Yeah, and there's so many. I mean, there's probably 22 parks and a couple trail systems. So again, for my young family, like going to the playground, like that's like going to Disney World, right, on the weekends.
Yeah.
So
Right.
having options and being able to drive your golf cart up to it is really cool. There's actually a boat ramp, a community boat ramp in Oldsmar that takes you down a kind of a shallow creek. So if you got a John boat, you can get out to the bay. But
Was this Bicentennial Park? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, and there's zip lining there. They just built, well, it's not just, but about 4 years ago they built 3 pickleball courts there, which I know is blowing up.
Yeah.
There's more pickleball courts in the Oldsmar flea market that are air conditioned. There's a splash pad for the kids up in Forest Lakes area. So I mean, I could go on. There's just so much to do for the families and whatnot. And in the city, so I went to a Citizens Academy course back in 2019, and it was like 8 or 10 week, class, and we just met with like every division of the city staff. So like we met with Public Works, we met with Planning and Development, Finance, Accounting, HR, like all these different divisions. And the common denominator was that every employee loved the city, whether they lived there or not. Like they were just so passionate about their job and their position and contributing. So it was really eye-opening to think that before, but then, experience it firsthand. It was really cool. So
Yeah.
that's why Oldsmar is better than Palm Harbor.
I was trying to avoid that. I totally disagree.
Yeah.
No, but one of the things we like about Palm Harbor is, well, one, we're close to the water, kind of like you guys are. You guys are on the bay side, we're on the Gulf side. I mean, that's a win right there for Palm Harbor.
I'll give you that one.
But the parks too, right? Like you mentioned, like 60%. That's crazy. I didn't know that, which is really, really cool. But like the same thing, like Palm Harbor, like we're down the street from Wall Springs Park, right? Like so we go there a lot with the kids, and the girls play at the playground, but you can walk on the different trails and stuff that they built out there. So it is cool I feel like, especially in like this busy lifestyle that everybody kind of lives in Pinellas County, to be able to have like those places to go and just get outside and just enjoy this beautiful area that we live in, whether it's Palm Harbor or Oldsmar.
Yeah, for sure. Do you guys have a BMX track in Palm Harbor?
No, we don't need any of that.
No. Yeah, so we have the Gator Nationals that come, and there's people from like multiple countries that come to Oldsmar. So that's a big event that it's in terms of revenue for local businesses and hotels. I mean, that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And that's at the Oldsmar Sports Complex, aka Canal Park, where we used to play baseball.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy to see how that place has changed too, right?
Yep, for sure. Yeah, they've got a hockey rink now, like roller hockey rink. Which is it's somehow like in partnership with the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah.
So I mean, anyway, so much to do, and I know we got to go to the convention here.
Yes.
But I just think our conversation today is really just kind of hopefully portrays the importance to people looking to relocate to a new area. Because we are like so intimately involved and connected with our respective cities that, when you're looking to relocate your entire family, it's kind of important to work with somebody that, knows the area more than, Google, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's huge, man. And that's and it's been fun, like learning more about Palm Harbor, like being more involved in everything, like going to the Citizens Academy and stuff with the city of Oldsmar. It's fun, like learning about all that stuff, so, and it's beneficial.
Right.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. So sweet, man. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
We'll do it again.
That's fun.